The main twists were really, really good at the end. There was one that even I didn't get, which I was pleasantly surprised by, and that really tied it together. I loved the message at the end of this book. Hey friends, welcome back to Francesca's Books. My name's Francesca, these are my books, and I'm your go-to thriller girly. So guess what we talk about here? Thriller books. So today, of course, we are talking about the queen of crime and thriller herself, Alice Feeney. So I've wanted to do some like author spotlight videos for a while because I often get requested like, what's your favourite Lisa Jewell book? What's your favourite Alice Feeney book? What's your favourite like Frida McFadden book? Or like the best places to start for like authors specifically. So I'm gonna kick that off with one of the best thriller authors herself, Alice Feeney. So Alice Feeney has 6 published books at the moment that fall into the thriller category, and she has a 7th coming out in 2025. So depending on when you watch this video, it may already be out. But if you've agreed with like some of my other opinions, particularly the controversial ones, then I feel like this video is going to be really useful. And if you only take away from it like what these books are about, like this synopsis of each one, whether you want to read it, then that is enough for me. So without further ado, there is no updates from me in my life. All I am doing is reading and filming and, well, I was gonna say writing, but I'm not writing. That'd be the dream. So I will crack straight on with the ranking, and as always, if there's anything specific you want to see from me, let me know in the comments. Coming in at number 6 is I Know Who You Are, and I gave this 2 stars. I feel like this sets the tone that like I'm not a big fan of Alice Feeney, because obviously I've gone in with my least favourite, but stay tuned because there is a few 5 stars. So this follows an actress whose husband's gone missing, and the police just think she's way more involved than she's letting on. She's kind of like a bit of a suspicious character, and you almost kind of like don't believe her yourself, and you're not sure whether to root from her. It is told a little bit of dual point of view, like from her childhood as well, but that is the crux of the book. So the reason this got 2 stars instead of 1 star is because I genuinely do enjoy Alice Feeney's writing, and there was quite a lot of quotes that resonated with me. So I felt like after I uploaded my Goodreads review of this book, I felt like there was loads of Kindle highlights, you know, when you go to post them publicly, there was loads, and I was like, maybe it's not fair to give this a 2, but it's Alice Feeney's writing I like, not the story. So the main reason, and if you've read this book, you will know exactly what I'm about to say, but the main plot twist at the end was absolutely, like, just so unnecessary. Like, that is my first reasoning. Unnecessary plot twist. Unnecessarily, like, icky plot twist. And the second reason, it was quite graphic. Like, I didn't enjoy it, and not in like a gory way, in like a mentally graphic way. I can't really explain it in any other better way without spoiling it. This book has very mixed reviews. I know my friend Michaela absolutely loved it and gave it a 5, and I'm like the opposite end of the scale, like rating it really, really low, but it just personally was not for me. Then coming in at number 5 is Daisy Darker, and I feel like the only way you would enjoy this book is if you went into it knowing like probably the main twist, which you would just never do, and then you would know what kind of book it is, and then you could probably enjoy it more. I feel like I would enjoy this more if I read it a second time, but I still didn't enjoy it. I gave it a 2.5. So this follows Daisy Darker's family, who gather on like a really secluded island to celebrate their grandma's 80th birthday. And then what happens is the tide comes in, and they basically all get trapped there for this like supposedly happy celebration, but due to like the family dynamics, it's just not a happy celebration. And then to make matters even worse, they start being unalived one by one, and nobody knows who's doing it. Kind of like a really like twisted Cluedo, but not in a good way. So the last 10% of this book was absolutely fantastic, and the sole reason that this got like a 2.5, maybe a 3, an absolute push as opposed to like a 1 star. The first 90% was so slow. I nearly DNF'd this so many times, but I'm just not a DNF'er. It would take so much for me to DNF a book, because I just like to take it to completion so that I can have like a full, well-rounded opinion on it, mainly for you guys. I feel like if I wasn't a creator and I was just a reader, I would DNF so many more books, but this way I can kind of let you know. So if I'd have DNF'd Daisy Darker before I got to that last 10%, I would have just been like 1 star, like, because you never got there, never got to the actual end. But now I can tell you as a whole. I feel like the majority of people agree with me on this one, that it was not Alice Feeney's best book, so I'm staying firm with the 2.5. So now on to number 4, we're getting to like the actual good books. So these are all books now that I would recommend that you read, like depending on your taste, but still all good recommendations from me. So coming in at number 4 is Alice Feeney's latest release to date, and it is Good Bad Girl. I feel like this is the book I've seen the most mixed reviews for, and I haven't read it. It came out about a year ago, and I hadn't read it until really recently because of all these mixed reviews, and I thought, I didn't really have a pull towards it. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to complete her backlist. 1, so I can tell you guys what I thought of all of her books, and 2, like just for completion, like it's just good. I do like Alice Feeney, so I thought I would give it a go, and I really enjoyed it. I was so surprised. I gave it 4 stars. So in this one, a baby is kidnapped and a woman is unalived in a care home, and these events are extremely linked, but seemingly not on the outside. So I will say this book does have quite a few points of view, but I did manage to follow it really easily. The points of view were kind of like gradually introduced, and I'm not a fan of loads of points of view, and I feel like it has to be done really right for me to get on board with it, and in this situation it was. So our main characters are Patience, who is a care worker for elderly lady Edith. So these are like our two main characters, and they meet in this care home where the person was unalived. Obviously I'm not going to tell you who was unalived. And then there's another point of view of Frankie, who is a librarian in a prison, and she's not had like a great upbringing. Like, she's got a bit of a backstory to her, and all of these kind of timelines, they all kind of weave together slowly. If you kind of read like a bit of everything and you're not like a specific thriller girly or guy, then you'd be absolutely blown away by the twist at the end of this book. Like, literally mind blown. Like, I'm not kidding. Even I was a bit like, even though I did kind of anticipate it coming, I feel like this could have gone a lot of ways. So you never really know with an Alice Feeney book. The main twists were really, really good at the end. There was one that even I didn't get, which I was pleasantly surprised by, and that really tied it together. I loved the message at the end of this book, and whilst I'm saying this, I'm debating rating it higher because I really did enjoy this. Then we get to the Alice Feeney books that I have in paperback because I really, really enjoyed. So next up at number 3 is His and Hers. So this is told in dual point of view of a detective and a reporter duo, and they're trying to solve this like big unaliving from both angles. However, both of these characters are way too linked to the victims that keep coming up for their own liking, and it just gets really complicated very fast. This detective and reporter are also linked as well. I cannot tell you how because that would give away a lot of the book, but in a really, really amazing way. Like, it really added to the book for me. And the plot twist of this, I never would have guessed. Like, literally never would have guessed. It wasn't even one of those that you could be like, oh yeah, I knew that. Absolutely no way. I did read this a few years ago now, and it still does stick in my mind, and it's probably one that I would even reread. And then coming in at number 2 is Alice Feeney's debut novel, which is Sometimes I Lie. So in this, a woman wakes up in a coma and she can't see and she can't move, but she can hear everything. Sounds kind of scary, honestly, but the concept is brilliant. So this is told from 2 points of view. I'm sensing a theme after describing all these Alice Feeney books, but it's told from Amber's point of view, who is in the coma or just woken up from the coma, and she's trying to like listen out for clues as to why she's in the hospital because she has absolutely no idea. She starts to be suspicious of her partner, but realistically, like you can't find out by just hearing whispers. And it's also told in the events of like what happened leading up to the accident as well, so like her actual life before this happened, and things just piece together really nicely. I remember finishing this and thinking like, this is everything you could possibly want from a thriller book. Like, you can't really ask for any more in a thriller book than this. It was brilliant, and I gave it 5 stars. And then finally, my favourite Alice Feeney book, which I think is slightly controversial but did also get 5 stars from me, is Rock, Paper, Scissors. Now, the reason this is probably a little bit controversial is that a lot of people say this is really, really slow. And to those people, I say you haven't read far enough within the book. It does start off marginally slower than her other books. I won't lie and say, oh yeah, it's fast paced like from page 1. It's not. There is a little bit more of a build-up, but that build-up pays off in a way that is just incredible and so worth the read. So it follows a married couple who win a getaway to like this secluded cabin, I think somewhere at the top of Scotland. So this is a perfect winter read if you have a winter TBR at all. So this is the story of them like going on this trip, and it gets kind of spooky quite quickly. And then it's also told from a letter for every year of their marriage of the wife writing to the husband. The plot twist in this rivals the plot twist in The Silent Patient for me. I never ever would have got this. I did read this quite close to the start of my reading journey, so obviously like I wasn't as well versed in like what may happen in terms of plot twists, so I feel like maybe that's why it holds such a special place in my heart as well, because I read it quite early. But it is brilliant. It just is. There is no more words. So this was an easy 5-star from me, and I really, really recommend it. So that was all 6 of Alice Feeney's books that are currently out, ranked from 1 to 6. However, she does have another book, as I mentioned, coming out in 2025, and that is called Beautiful Ugly. So this follows a guy who gets some really good news, and he rings his wife and he can hear that she's like in the car driving, but he's like telling her this news, and then suddenly like the phone just cuts off. So he goes to find her, not sure how he knows where she is, but when he gets there, her phone's in the car's absolutely fine, and the door's wide open, but she's just missing. So he has no idea, like no clue what's gone on. So then a year later, he's still really heavily grieving, like as you would be. He can't really cope with the dynamic, so decides to move, and I think it's somewhere in Scotland, somewhere maybe Scottish Isles, that he moves to. And then when he gets there, he sees this woman who looks exactly like his wife. So it sounds absolutely brilliant, and as soon as I do manage to get my hands on a copy, I will of course let you know what I think. Hopefully I should be able to get my hands on an advance copy. So let me know which is your favourite Alice Feeney book. I would love to know. And if you've never read anything by this author, also let me know if I've inspired you to check out this queen of thriller books. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you next time.